Match 8, here we go. Kevin Rose following the Sam Hall formula of be aggressive and charge hard. Going up against Eric Slan of Slanman Customs, who's been a very quiet competitor, just hiding in that Corvette of his. Let's find out what happens. The El Camino being chased down by the Johnny Lightning. Johnny Lightning takes a big charge. That Corvette's trying, but it isn't quite enough. The El Camino brings it home with a 9.3 at 271. Well, by the looks of that first round, this race is far from over. We'll put it that way. And so, El Camino versus Classic Corvette, take 2. Going down to the spiral, the Elko takes the lead again, but the Corvette pushes past him. Look at that. Beautiful lead change. Slan trying to get it across the line, but did it cost him too much time? Yes, it did. Eric Slan is knocked out. And so Kevin Rose wins that Corvette. Not that you'll ever see it again. We'll explain more on that later. Match 9, and it's been a minute since you've seen that purple car, hasn't it? Well, we entered a very interesting situation. Mr. Mom's Racing, if you remember from one of our earliest videos in the series, sent him right off the side of the track and won the race. Mr. Mom also took Crunch Chief, way to go with my memory there, Crunch Chief off of Kevin Rose, which is what we just said about in the last video, and then went dormant. We weren't able to get a hold of him. We weren't able to hear from him. He isn't active on most forms of social media. And then when we finally got a hold of him, he said to pay it forward. So, Michael Hall re-inherited his one car after we took a poll in the community, and Kevin Rose got his old truck back. And as for the Caravan, well, that's up for a random drawing. So a past competitor or a present one may get another one of the most devastating vehicles in this entire competition. But enough of that. You're here to see a race. Michael Hall versus Efren Ramirez in that 360 Medina. You probably forgot he had that car because he's been spamming the hell out of that Lumina. And who could blame him? The thing works. Let's see if his backup car has anything to say against the certain screaming pickup truck. Off we go. And sure enough, Michael Hall takes the lead, but the 360 is all over him. Another bit of a slide, big loss of speed. Efren actually loses complete control of the vehicle. Michael puts it home. 8.9. And Efren fights to keep his Ferrari as the screaming hauler, well, in the words of the old American West, is raring to go. If you don't understand what that means, that thing has been waiting to rip for a long time. Let's see if Michael's going to be a one-hit wonder or if he's walking away with a Ferrari too. No, the 360 this time takes the lead. Screaming Hauler is all over him, tries for a pass at the line, but did not have enough to do it. Michael Hall loses the truck that he was just given back after 3 weeks. Holy crap. I didn't even know what to say. That looked like it was cinched. Screaming Hauler put down a great performance, and Efren, it wasn't all that hot. And then out of nowhere, in the second race, this 360 pulls a smoke show out of nowhere. Incredible. Match 10 presents Efren Ramirez with back-to-back performances with his last video. And now he's in that Lumina you heard me say that he's been spamming the living hell out of. His competitor, Jordan B, in an El Camino that has ran as much on luck as it has on pure skill. Let's see who's going to pull this one off. But I think I know the answer. And sure enough, the Lumina takes the lead. Look at that thing go. Stability. I say that as it gets a little sideways. But sure enough, he puts it home in the box. Actually running a 9.1, which is slower than the Ferrari ran. Match 10, round 2, presents Jordan B on the inside lane with Efren on the outside. Jordan would have to win and post better than a 9.1 in order to advance with that Lumina, which would be, quite frankly, insane if he pulled that off. Let's get it. Efren pulls ahead going into the spiral. Takes a high dive actually into the banking and then wakes back up again. Jordan puts it in the box. I believe that's the last you'll see of that El Camino. 8.7. There you have it. Efren seems to be a Chevrolet man because, well, he just keeps coming home with them. Match 11, round 1 presents us with what I feel to be an excellent race in the making. You have Steven in the Crazy 8. You have Douglas Gaffney in that beautiful Silverado Stalker. It's going to be a little bit of weight versus finesse, and we'll have to see if those Goodyear Eagles still mean business. Pretty even going down into it. Crazy 8 does take the lead. The Silverado is drafting him. Maintains the lead. Both of them slide. Steven puts it in the box at an 8.831. And so here we are. I mean, nobody's really going to lose here. I mean, I suppose that may be mostly true. Douglas, if he loses this truck to Steven, still has the Ferrari that he won earlier in the video, so he's not out as far as cars. Steven, on the other hand, stands to gain a second vehicle, which he needs desperately as a buffer to keep him from getting knocked out. And so we go. And this time, but Crazy 8 takes a heavy pass on the outside and shoves him off for good measure. Wow. Good night. 8.962. Douglas getting his cage rattled. Steven driving the point home that violence is apparently a form of currency. Match 12 brings us Jordan B in the Shadow Mark IIA going up against GNR Vintage Diecast in a Twin Mill 2. You probably also forgot that this car was in the competition, which in case, we don't blame you. GNR Vintage had been using that Toronado and unfortunately lost that absolutely gorgeous car to Vern Davis much earlier in this competition, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I believe. So, Jordan B, after losing his El Camino, is looking to stay alive. And GNR Vintage, well, so is he. These are both one-car men. Let's find out what happens. Pretty even going into the spiral. They were side by side. He scrubbed a lot of speed off, and then Jordan begins to put speed on again. GNR Vintage follows him into the box. A rather languid 10.483. And the lanes are swapped and the cars are racked. This is round 2. Going down to the spiral, the twin mill 2 flips. Jordan only needs to finish the lap, and he's got this one cinched. And sure enough, a quite lazy end to that performance. And so ends Brian's run for vintage diecast racing for him in this series. And Jordan continues onward, once again a 2-car owner. Match 13 provides us an interesting one. The V-Man with the Golf GT40 versus Trent and my Monte Carlo. And at this point, we're just going to see what happens next. The GT40 has proven itself to be quite the weapon on track, but that Monte Carlo is heavy and it is stable. It has not let Trent down yet. And so we go. Look at that. The Monte steals the lead. The GT40 was looking to pass, and the Monte closes the door on him. They go down to the line with the GT40's grill lit by the Monte's taillights. Look at that. 9.243. By no means will this be a hollow win for Trent, as he stands to win a pretty awesome car throughout this series, if he can keep it together. They're fighting side by side, and then the Monte shoots out of the corner and takes the lead. And that is the ball game. The Monte lays down an 8.925. Exactly expecting to film this, but here we are. Trent ironically owns now 2 of the cars that were previously Stevens. But I have a feeling that that Mini probably is going to disappear after that performance. Match 14, the final one of the night. Sneaky Bob in the old Petty Charger, getting quite ballsy and calling out Katie in the Petty Grand Prix. So calling these out on track, I can't use the word petty anymore because you're going to be like, which one? No, either way, I think we're going to know the difference here in quite short order. Off we go. And sure enough, the Grand Prix takes the lead, but the Charger is sticking along a little bit better than I thought it was going to. Katie has a heavy slide, but keeps it firm in the box. Here it is, 9.2. Anything is possible in the hollow. But as I watch this at this exact second, I have a feeling that we're going to be mailing flowers to Sneaky Bob's family for this Charger. Off we go. And the Grand Prix has it going into the spiral and then coming out. She does get a little bit crossed up, but gathers it up. Into the box she goes. Nice side-by-side action. Here it is, 9-0. This is another one of those situations in which they lost the really hot car. And the car they won back isn't exactly the best consolation prize in the world. Katie is wounded after losing that Mercedes.